and keeping our kids safe as they head back to school. How an app can help students in a crisis. Right now on KSL-5 News at 6.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News at 6.
Good evening. Tonight, as preparations get underway for the funerals of two fallen officers, there are new developments now in the courtroom for the man accused of killing them.
Ryan Bate was visibly sobbing today throughout his initial appearance.
Pardue Ryan Michael Bate, date of birth September 1st, 1992.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are hereby on.
The judge told Bate the state will be seeking the death penalty. He also granted a protected order for Bate not to have any contact with the victims of his domestic violence charges. KSL's been looking into the link between police shootings and domestic violence.
Yeah, our team spoke with a retired police chief who has analyzed the connection here and the message that he hopes officers will take away. KSL investigator Daniela Rivera reports.
When responding to emergency calls, police face the unknown.
They never know when they're going to come up against something like what happened in Tremont.
But when officers take gunfire, there's often a connection to a suspect's past.
Had a history of some sort of extreme intimate partner violence and most often strangulation.
Craig Kingsbury began investigating that link 20 years ago after an attack on one of his own officers.
He did survive the shooting, but eventually had to medically retire as a result.
Kingsbury and a research team looked at 10 suspects, finding 80% had prior domestic violence history and 30% had attempted to strangle a partner. So it doesn't surprise him that Utah prosecutors say long before Ryan Bate allegedly shot at officers, he reportedly grabbed a woman by her throat and threw her on a couch.
It truly is the ultimate power and control move that an abuser can do on their partner.
En route with one officer, gunshot wounds.
Utah has had other examples too.
They thought I was dead.
In 2021, a Sandy police officer was shot and injured. The suspect charged 4 years earlier in a domestic violence case. A woman reported he choked her for 45 seconds to a minute, and she thought she was going to pass out and die. Prosecutors dropped that charge when they were unable to locate the victim.
We know that these are very difficult cases to prosecute, and we know that victims down the road oftentimes recant.
Kingsbury says his research shows, despite the difficulty, police need to gather all the facts.
The number one takeaway that I hope that our peace officers have from this is to conduct a very good investigation when you respond to a domestic violence call.
Helping victims and the public know they'll be safer, and so will the officers working to protect them. Daniela Rivera, KSL 5 News.
Those are sobering but helpful results. Daniela, thank you. Kids in Box Elder County are headed back to school after the tragic shooting in Tremont, and the school district is now working to make sure that students have the mental health support they need. News specialist Mike Anderson has a look at that and how parents can address difficult tragedies with our kids. Mike?
Yeah, Dini, and the school district is sending some information to parents on how they can address this tragedy. Still knowing how to handle it at home and when to seek more help can be tough to figure out.
The usual small town feel is changed. The signs are everywhere, but there's also the indicators of strength.
So this is something that our community has not experienced, and so we want to be really sensitive to our students' needs and our families.
Jimmy Kent, Director of Public Relations for the Box Elder School District, says they are working to help families. Counselors and social workers will be available at schools for students and staff. There are also times like this.
I think those moments help the community and our students heal.
That people will see more of. A rivalry girls volleyball game last night had Box Elder High supporting Bear River High in a moment of silence for Lee Sorensen and Eric Estrada. Trooper Monson, who was on duty that night, and Deputy Mike Allred's adult kids were there too.
I think that this is something that's going to take people a lot of time to process and heal.
And some of that will happen at home.
Keeping in mind the context is really important, but also knowing that something happened in your community oftentimes is just enough to make it a little too close for comfort.
Melanie Domenech Rodriguez is a professor of psychology at Utah State University.
There's a real balance between being very honest and transparent and giving just enough to answer the question that a child has posed.
What kind of help kids need can vary a whole lot.
The indications are fairly simple, and they're tricky because they sound very simple, but they're hard to pull off.
And a number of licensed clinical social workers are also donating their time, making themselves available along with the school counselors at the various schools in the district for both the kids and staff. Back to you.
Good to know there are resources. Mike, thank you. A viewing for both of the slain officers will be held at Bear River High School in Tremont next Wednesday. Officer Eric Estrada's funeral will be held the next day, and Sergeant Lee Sorensen's funeral will be on Friday. Both services will be held at the Utah State University Spectrum in Logan.
We have an update in a fugitive arrest coming out of Sugar House last November. Utah District Attorney's Office says here a U.S. Marshal was legally justified in shooting the suspect. They were trying to arrest 43-year-old Daniel Minard near 900 East, 2100 South when he tried to flee. Well, his car eventually got pinned on a sidewalk, and officials say at one point here he rolled down the window and held up a black object. An officer fired shots, hitting Minard 2 times. It was later on discovered no weapons were inside the car, but DA Sim Gill says it was a perception of a threat making this shooting justified.
Friends of a violinist detained by ICE were at the Utah Capitol today, trying to draw attention to his situation.
John, through no fault of his own, was just taken off the street, as far as we know. He has a job. He has a family. He might lose his jobs, and he has done absolutely nothing to warrant this.
They say John Shin has legal protection with an immigration policy since he's been in the U.S. for most of his life, and that he has citizenship paperwork pending. Our team has reached out for more information on his immigration status, and we are working to hear back.
The dance world in Utah and throughout the country is mourning the loss of Shirley Ryrie. She is the co-founder of Ryrie Woodbury Dance Company, who died earlier this week at the age of 96. She created the company in 1964 with Joanne Woodbury. They took dance into classrooms throughout Utah and on the stages across the country and around the world. Their secret to success, they said, was hiring the best dancers and balancing each other's lives.
We had our children every other year, so we didn't plan it, but it happened that way. And, you know, when one was up, the other was down. If one was busy with something, then the other one would take over.
Pretty great relationship there. They led generations of contemporary dancers, taking their company to every continent, receiving rave reviews at international dance festivals and dance magazines in Paris. Shirley Ryrie is part of a dance history in America.
Devin joins us now. I was out shooting, and today was not the day to wear black or a blue dress.
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, temperatures are still about 5 degrees warmer than normal, so mid to upper 90s. So that is definitely high, especially now when the sun has been beaming for several hours in the afternoon. We did have more clouds this morning that gave way to some raindrops that even led to 1/100th of an inch of rain falling at the Salt Lake Airport. So it has ended our dry streak here in Salt Lake. You can see northern Utah not super active, but we do have some showers moving into the southern portions of Tooele. Further to the south in Juab and the northern parts of Millard County, we have some cluster of thunderstorms. Further east around Price, down to Richfield and Green River, we have some scattered showers and storms, and especially in Kane County right now with some flash flooding. We'll time out our weekend forecast and talk about what's next coming up in just a bit.
All right, sounds good, Devin. Thanks. Wildfires have cost Utah nearly $30 million this year. Officials with the Division of Forestry, Fire and State Lands say more than 161,000 acres have burned, with more than 70% of the fires caused by people. They estimate that number is an all-time high for Utah. Right now, the state is applying for a grant program which will cover most of the cost, but they expect to still be responsible for about $9 million.
We've got a traffic alert to be aware of this weekend. I-15 in Riverdale set to fully close for a bridge demolition. Northern Utah drivers should avoid both directions of I-15 starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. The highway will be shut down at 4400 South so crews can demolish that bridge spanning the highway. Detours include I-84, Riverdale Road, and 31st Street in Ogden. The freeway will reopen by 8:30 on Sunday morning.
Helping Utah's young families, how a change in leadership is expected to help the growing need for diapers, coming up.
Also, Kids in Crisis, how an app helps tens of thousands of Utah students each and every year. Welcome back. The Safe UT app has already helped thousands of students in crisis, which is why mental health advocates are encouraging families to look at it as their kids head back to school. News special Shara Park joined us live now with a look at these numbers. Shara?
Yeah, Mike, take a look at the app, get familiar with it, right, with your kids. You know, the Safe UT app, it has been downloaded at this point by about 320,000 times. If you look at our state population, K through 12, that's about half the student population in the state of Utah for that age group.
We get texts, we get calls.
Since the Safe UT app launched in 2016, students have been reaching out for a variety of reasons.
And if they're ever feeling stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, or concerned for their safety or the safety of someone else.
Last year, Safe UT received nearly 27,000 chats from students, parents, and faculty in Utah's K through 12 schools and colleges. And the number one thing they reached out about, bullying, followed by concerns of suicide.
Maybe to us at that moment as adults, it may not be a crisis. But to that individual, it is. And that is what matters.
Diana Belisaros is an outreach coordinator for Safe UT and has also worked the crisis line. She's seen firsthand how Safe UT can save lives and wants students to know it's a safe space.
Our staff are there to provide that helpful and safe space where individuals can connect to someone without feeling judged or worried that this could have other repercussions.
In fiscal 2024, Safe UT received nearly 9,000 private tips, 758 regarding campus safety, which included 456 threats of violence, 152 weapons threats, and 150 campus threats. Out of all of the chats and tips, Safe UT counselors determined 499 people required emergency intervention, where law enforcement and EMS got involved because someone was at imminent risk.
We don't care how old you are. We don't care what's going on. If there's something in your life that is causing you to feel overwhelmed, or if you don't know how to react or don't know what to do, please connect with us. That's what we want you to know, that you're never alone.
Well, and this year, things are a little bit different with cell phones, right? With the statewide ban on cell phones in the classroom, if a student is in need in the classroom or in crisis, there is the Safe UT app they can access through their Chromebooks, right? So that should be available through Canvas, but if that is not available through your district, the Safe UT app, they want to hear from you so they can make sure they work with the school district to get that available to you immediately. So, Mike, things are always progressing and developing, but the bottom line is have that conversation with your student, make sure they have that app on their phone, make sure that they know they can access that through their laptop or their Chromebook. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, we've seen it. It's a valuable resource. Shara, thank you.
A back-to-school campaign is working to share the message, every day counts, with every Utah family. The goal is to reduce chronic absenteeism. It's a story I followed closely over the last few years. Before the pandemic in 2020, only 14% of students were regularly missing school. This year, that number's 24%. That's 1 in 4 students missing more than 10% of their school. Several school districts have been working hard to get that number down, including the Box Elder School District.
We have a system where we keep track of students, and so when we start noticing, like you mentioned, those chronic absences or repeated unexcused absences, we like to reach out to families, and it's in a friendly way. We stress the importance of education. We miss them. We want them here.
This weekend, I take a look at how this effort ties to a push from the State Board of Education, what's working, and you'll see the state's new superintendent of schools on Sunday edition at 9 a.m.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Deanie. More than 10 years after starting the Utah Diaper Bank in his garage, Utah man is handing over the reins now to the Utah Food Bank. Victor Velivas says he started the bank after retiring when he learned Utah did not have a way to help families in need of diapers.
I can't imagine being a parent and looking down and thinking, I don't have any more diapers. Maybe I could reuse this again, or maybe I could leave it on a little bit longer. I mean, that's got to be a horrible choice for a parent to have to make.
In its first year in 2013, the bank delivered 11,000 diapers. This year, they expect to deliver 2 million. Believis says that the Utah Food Bank can expand this program and help more and more families in the years to come.
All right, Devin, there were some clouds out there, and it seemed a little muggy. Is that my imagination?
No, it's not, because we had some showers all over the Salt Lake Valley. We know it didn't give way to a lot of rain, but when that moisture falls into the atmosphere, it does feel more humid.
Yeah.
And eventually it'll keep feeling more humid over the next couple of days, because we're going to get some rain.
Hey!
Finally come for the
Here we go.
Wasatch Front. Most of our storms are in central and southern Utah today. You can see it's looking pretty stormy over Zion National Park right now. I haven't seen any rainfall come in that area, but it has been pretty gusty. Some of our rain totals that I was able to find: over 1/4 inch of rain around Fish Lake, up near Duchesne, close to 1/4 inch as well, about 1/10 in Loa, and then less than 1/10 for areas around the Weber Canyon, the mouth of Weber Canyon, Bryan Head, Payson, and Salt Lake Airport. Because we had a measurable amount of rainfall, we ended our dry streak. It was going on to 48 days. The last time we saw measurable rain was the 4th of July, and that was our 12th longest dry spell in our record, our history here in Salt Lake. So for right now, you can see northern Utah is pretty quiet. We have a lot of sunshine out there, and it is certainly hot. As we enter into central Utah, it gets a little bit more active. We still have scattered showers and some isolated thunderstorms. It looks like in the higher terrain north of Price, we have an isolated thunderstorm, and then a cluster of storms in the northern portions of Millard County. A few showers southeast of Richfield, and then really we've been watching some active weather in the central portions of Kane County that have led to a flash flood warning in the very southern portions of that area. So with the increasing chances of, or increasing moisture across the state over the next couple of days, we'll see that flash flood threat also increase. Right now it's 96 degrees in Salt Lake, 91 degrees in Moab, and 102 degrees in St. George. For storm zone, as we play out the next couple of hours, most of our showers and storms will begin to wind down. We'll still keep cloud coverage overnight tonight, as well as a chance for a few isolated showers, especially in the southwestern portions of the state. Of course, in the afternoon, we expect showers and storms to bubble up, and we might even see that line move up a little bit further north. So the southern half of the Wasatch Front could see an isolated thunderstorm, especially if it starts over the mountains to our west and rolls over the valley locations. You can see it's active all throughout the I-15 corridor, but eastward. And then tomorrow evening, again, trends a little bit more quiet before we expect more showers and storms to bubble up on Sunday for the entire state. Flash flooding threat will increase, so especially on Sunday for south central Utah. Northern Utah, we're expecting our wedding rain to come in the beginning of next week, and that will also cool our temperatures down, and you'll see that in the 7-day forecast. So for central Utah, 90 for the high in Nephi, mid-90s in Delta, low 90s in Richfield. Southern Utah, low 90s in Beaver, 94 in Cedar City, mid-80s in Panguitch, mid-90s in Kanab with some isolated thunderstorms in that area. We expect the chance for an isolated thunderstorm in St. George tomorrow, 104 the high, falling to the low 90s by Tuesday of next week and keeping storm chances through about Wednesday. Northern Utah, mid-90s in Logan, Tremont, again, very similar to what you felt today. Wasatch Front, similar forecast with partly to mostly cloudy skies. And then we have storms in the forecast from Sunday through about Thursday of next week. Best chances, though, are going to be between Monday and Wednesday. So keeping our fingers crossed for a good soaking rain.
Hey, that's a couple of days, a good chance. We'll get something.
Yes, I agree.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, JJ, it smells like Friday out there.
Oh, that's my favorite smell. I love it. It is high school football night tonight, week 2 of the high school football season, and we've got a good one tonight on our Game Night Live Game of the Week. I'll explain why there's so much energy here tonight around this game between Davis and Fremont. We're live from Kaysville next. Welcome back to Kaysville, a high school football Friday night, and week 2 is going to kick off with one of the best games we expect to see all year long, a matchup that's very anticipated that we circled before the year started. Davis hosting Fremont, 2 longtime rivals, 2 top 10 teams. This should be a great football game with a lot of talent on the field tonight. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this game is big and why you should watch this game. First, Fremont upset Davis last year and stole a region title from the Darts. They haven't forgotten, and the Darts want revenge. Both these teams are no longer in the same classification. Davis is 6A, Fremont has dropped down to 5A. but the intensity is still the same. Another reason this is big is the amount of talent on the field tonight. Davis quarterback Trayton Bessinger is committed to Boise State, one of the top high school quarterbacks in the western United States. Junior Bodie Sparrow is one of the best athletes in the state and in the western United States, and he's wanted by several Power 4 teams, including BYU and Utah. But the highest rated player in this game suits up for Fremont. Celeste Moa is the #1 ranked high school football player in Utah. He recently committed to Tennessee. That's some big-time talent that's going to play for some big-time teams at the next level. But tonight, they're going to represent their teams here at for Davis and Fremont. You don't want to miss this game. This is going to be fun, and we'll have it for you. Me and Sly will have the call on the KSL Plus app, KSL Sports app, KSLSports.com, the KSL Sports YouTube channel. There's so many ways to watch this game. There's nothing else on tonight, right? If you want some football tonight, it's high school football night. So join us tonight starting at 7 o'clock. We'll have the call. Can't wait for it. From Kaysville, back to you guys in Salt Lake City.
We want football, that's for sure.
Yes, we do. All right, thanks, JJ. Hey, coming up here, an urgently needed resource is opening soon in Taylorsville. The push to help youth experiencing a mental health crisis. That's coming up next on KSL 5 News at 6:30. Welcome back. 1 week after the historic summit in Alaska, the hope seems to be fading for an end to the war in Ukraine. President Trump himself alluded to that in an interview.
President Putin's longtime confidant said a meeting between Zelensky and Putin is not in the works. NBC's Garrett Hake has more.
Thank you very much, everybody.
President Trump today acknowledging a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine remains elusive, despite all.
And it's turning out to be the most difficult.
Those efforts include that extraordinary summit last week with Russia, all his efforts to end the war.
This one I thought would have been in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty.
And President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. The meeting itself yielded little progress towards peace. The president, though, still working on setting up a face-to-face with Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
We're going to see if Putin and Zelensky will be working together. You know, that's like oil and vinegar a little bit. They don't get along too well for obvious reasons, but we'll see.
But today, in an exclusive interview with Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov making clear there is no meeting planned and there won't be for some time.
Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky when the agenda would be ready for a summit. And this agenda is not ready at all.
Ukrainian President Zelensky, who also met with Trump and European leaders at the White House Monday, says he's willing to meet Putin with or without Trump. But Putin is doing everything possible to prevent that. And still the war rages on, with Russian troops marching on Ukrainian villages and Ukraine striking Russian refineries, causing a gas shortage in Moscow.
The president today repeatedly pressed on next steps, said he will decide within 2 weeks whether he thinks it's appropriate to ramp up pressure and sanctions on Russia or simply let the two countries keep fighting. Garrett Hake, NBC News, Washington.
Garrett, thank you. Chicago might be next for a White House crackdown on crime.
We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come.
President Trump saying today he is considering a longer and more intense campaign after deploying the National Guard in Washington, D.C. Right now, there are about 1,900 federal troops from multiple states in the nation's capital. In a recent order, they were ordered to start carrying service weapons, a notable shift in guidance here. Justice Department attorneys have said that the order to take control of law enforcement in Washington, D.C. will expire after a month unless Congress extended the president's ability. Utah Governor Spencer Cox says that there has been no request to send the state's National Guard to help in Washington, D.C. In his monthly press conference with reporters this week, the governor said that he would need more details if a request were to come. However, he did say that the state has offered troops in the federal immigration crackdown with a few caveats.
Our National Guard will not be putting hands on people, will not be arresting people. That is not the role of the National Guard.
The governor saying that while troops can help out, they will not be part of arrests. He said the state has offered them for transportation efforts and to help with paperwork. The other caveat would be that the federal government is required to pay for the deployment of those troops.
The man accused of attacking several people with a knife at a Walmart in Michigan will not stand trial. A judge ruled he's not competent enough, but could change that ruling after the man received mental health treatment. Bradford Gilley is facing terrorism and assault charges for attacking several people last month. He was stopped by a group of Samaritans, and then police arrested him. Tonight, a parole board is set to decide whether Lyle Menendez will be released on parole. Both brothers appeared in court this week trying to get parole after 30 years in prison. Eric Menendez was denied on Thursday. Lyle Menendez made his appearance today. They're both serving time for the murder of their parents. It's a case that recently came back into the spotlight after a Netflix documentary.
A case that was cold for decades in the 1991 murder of Joy Hobbs. And tonight, the Dateline team takes a look at the renewed call for answers. Here's a preview.
David, Joy, and Angie Hibbs. Dad, Charlie, behind the camera. A young family facing a future they never saw coming.
I opened the back door and I saw flames.
He ran, hell-bent on saving his mom.
He was frantic and said, "Mommy is still in there." And I just thought, no, there's no way.
Firefighters were quickly on the scene.
We got out because there was a body there, so there's going to be an investigation.
It wasn't the fire that killed Joy.
She was murdered, and the house was set on fire intentionally to cover it up.
It changed my entire life. Nothing was ever the same after that.
We had no idea who the murderer was.
And decades later, there would still be questions begging for answers.
The 2-hour episode, Justice for Joy, airs tonight at 8 o'clock only on KSL-TV.
Well, Devin, it looks like we don't know which day, but at least one day we're going to see some raindrops.
Yeah, I would say we're fairly confident Monday through Wednesday is going to be the best time frame for the Wasatch Front to get some thunderstorms to roll through here. And in the next couple of days, we have isolated chances to come across a shower or storm. Right now, we're still fairly dry and quiet, but we are seeing some increasing clouds coming in from the west. You can see out in Tooele County. Those showers do tend to be dissipating as they move further to the east. So for our Football Friday plans, we'll keep things dry. It's a bit more active in southern Utah, and it will stay that way over the next couple of days. We'll talk all about your weekend forecast coming up in just a bit.
Can't wait. Thank you, Devin.
They've been around for forever. They're actually a pretty prehistoric fish.
After 100 years, Iowa is introducing a new fish to the Great Lakes, while the state is bringing back the paddlefish. Plus, the ongoing attempts to break a large-scale skydiving world record. That story and more straight ahead in today's KSL Quick Take. Here's a look at today's headlines in your KSL Quick Take.
Dozens of skydivers are trying to break a world record in Illinois. Check this out. Some 200 people tried to break the vertical world record, joining hands in the sky. The current state record is 250 people. Skydivers from 53 countries across the world are making several attempts to break this record.
Archaeologists have pulled ancient treasure from the depths of the Egyptian coast. Findings include a headless statue, a priest figure, and a sphinx, all from a 2,000-year-old sunken city called Canopus. The pieces are going to be restored and then join an exhibit at the Alexandria National Museum. That's cool.
After 100 years, Iowa is bringing fish to the Great Lakes. The native species saw a decline as river systems separated, and that prevented their migrating upstream. 2,000 fish were introduced last year, and Iowa's DNR says they are thriving.
New dinosaur has recently been discovered in the UK. It's named after British sailor Ellen MacArthur. The dino has a sail-like structure down its back. You can see it right there, which is thought to have helped them find a mate. The specimen was actually found 40 years ago, but it was mistakenly grouped in with another species.
New studies revealing a cuddly side of bats, if you want to call it that. Researchers observed a colony of spectral bats and found a lot of warm social interactions. They would wrap their wings around one another as a sort of greeting. They were also seen sharing food and playing and greeting other bats. That does not change my opinion.
No, remember, bats can hug each other, just don't hug bats, right? All right, coming up next here, more shrimp is being recalled for radioactive exposure. The brands you need to look out for that were sold right here in Utah.
And a much-needed resource is opening soon in Taylorsville. How it's expected to help Utah children in crisis. Stay with us. Frozen shrimp is being recalled over possible radioactive contamination. Southwind Foods joins Walmart in recalling bagged shrimp after a possible exposure to cesium-137. The product was sold under several brand names and was sent to 9 states, including here in Utah. Product was sold at several stores from July 17th to August 8th. If you still have any of it, throw it out or take it to the store for a refund.
Canada is now removing some of the retaliatory tariffs placed on a long list of American products. It starts September 1st and will apply to goods that comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. But the 25% tariff on American steel, aluminum, and cars will stay in place. Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke with President Trump, saying that they will continue discussions to address current trade issues. White House praised the decision as long overdue. Today, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is hinting at long-awaited interest cuts. He spoke at a key summit in Wyoming where key bankers and banking figures gather each and every year. He says it's not because of President Trump's pressure on the central bank, but rather that the U.S. labor market is now on shaky ground.
Over the longer run, changes in tax, spending, and regulatory policies may also have important implications for economic growth and productivity.
He also pointed to tariff changes as reasons for uncertainty. The Fed will give the next update on interest rates on September 17th.
It's a much-needed resource for Utah children in crisis. Intermountain Children's Health unveiled a new behavioral health center today in Taylorsville. News specialist Emma Benson shows us how this could help change lives.
Yeah, the new center was built specifically for kids ages 5 to 18 years old at a time when nearly 40% of teenagers in Utah say they experience persistent sadness or depression.
For Utah children in crisis, a new door is opening.
And today is about showing up for kids in our communities to say, we hear you. We're here to take care of your mental health needs.
The Primary Children's Hospital Behavioral Health Center spans 90,000 square feet and was built on the former Wasatch Canyons campus in Taylorsville. It was made possible by a $25 million investment from the state of Utah, along with philanthropic donations.
The dedicated caregivers at this facility will provide services that are urgently needed for children and teens who are in crisis.
Those services include 36 inpatient beds, an outpatient clinic, and group therapy, plus a walk-in crisis center that's open 24/7. There's even a Ronald McDonald family room, giving parents a place to stay while their child receives care.
We really want everybody to feel safe and welcome here.
One of the youngest voices at today's ribbon cutting was 12-year-old Ren, who has had her fair share of behavioral health challenges.
I feel angry and I can be sad or stressed.
She wants people to know that they're not alone.
I think today is a big difference and it will help many other kids like me.
And for 23-year-old Rachel, who's been navigating mental health since she was just 3 years old, this center represents hope for the future.
I'm really excited and looking forward for this new generation to feel happy.
This new center will officially open to patients and families on Saturday, September 6th. In Taylorsville, Emma Benson, KSL-5 News.
Oh, that is so needed. Thank you, Emma.
All right, Devin, let's talk about the weather out there because some rain came down. It got my driveway wet. I know that much today.
Okay, yeah, we had another shower roll through Salt Lake Airport, and that actually brought enough rain to be measurable.
Oh, good.
And
Finally.
it ended our dry streak. We're approaching 50 days without any measurable rainfall in Salt Lake. So the times are changing. We have a monsoon pattern in place, and that's going to help bring more showers and storms in the forecast. Right now, Cedar City looks pretty dry, but some clouds are kind of moving in that area. Northern Utah, mostly sunny right now if you're north of Farmington, but you can see some clouds are moving in the southern part of the Great Salt Lake right now. The southern half or the central portions of the state, we have some showers, isolated thunderstorm in the south central portions of Juab County. And then as we enter into southern Utah, really not seeing any strikes of lightning. So we can already see that our storms and our showers are waning. Of course, the further we get from sunset, we'll continue to see these showers and storms die down. It is still hot out there this evening. It is 96 degrees in Salt Lake, 93 in Ogden, 98 degrees in Moab, and 102 degrees in St. George. We, of course, have high pressure overhead. That's really not going to move too much over the next 5 days. What we will see tomorrow is the top of this high pressure ridge get a little bit flattened. So northern Utah, not really seeing moisture increase there just yet, but we'll keep an isolated shower chance for the southern half of the valley. Most of our showers tomorrow will be pretty similar to where they are today in the central and southern mountains, and they'll be moving to the east, so moving to adjacent valleys. As we head into Sunday, we'll see a better moisture push, so this will actually give way to a flash flooding threat in southern Utah. You can now see some green across the northern portions of the state, so we'll have isolated showers and storms rolling through here. And then Monday and Tuesday and even Wednesday, we're expecting the entire state to have scattered showers and storms, mainly in the afternoon and evening. Then at night, these will die down. However, if the showers and storms do not die down at night and we have activity ongoing, and then we'll have lingering cloud coverage during the afternoon and evenings, that could actually take away some of the energy from our thunderstorms. So we'll be watching for these limiting factors, because if we get cloud coverage and after overnight storms, that could allow for storms not to happen in the afternoon, and that would thus take away from precipitation chances, mostly for central and southern Utah, but that's something we'll keep an eye on next week. So for central Utah tomorrow, generally in the 90s, upper 80s near 90 in Manti. Close to 100 in Green River, also close to 100 in Hanksville with isolated thunderstorm chance, 101 in Moab, low 90s in Beaver and Cedar City. St. George at 104 degrees tomorrow, 101 on Sunday, then 100 Monday before falling into the upper 80s and the low 90s next week. Storm chances in the forecast through about Wednesday. Southern Utah, mid 90s in Logan, Tremont, low 90s in Heber City. We'll keep an isolated thunderstorm chance for our mountains and the Wasatch back, but the Wasatch front, really the best chances will be further into Utah County. Low 90s on Sunday after a hot day tomorrow. Then we'll be gradually falling through the 80s next week. It'll feel very comfortable by Wednesday, and we're hoping for some scattered showers and storms.
Crossing our fingers.
Can't wait.
I know.
All right, thanks, Debbie.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Two brothers from Utah dominating on American Ninja Warrior this season.
But as they continue to advance, one of them might have to actually eliminate the other. Kai and Luke Beckstrand are from St. George. So far, they haven't competed against each other, but that could change on Monday during the finals. More than 60 ninjas have been competing in feats of strength and speed to win $250,000 in prize money. You can watch American Ninja Warrior right here on KSL starting at 7.
Mom and Dad are going to have a tough one on that one. All right, professional baseball games in full swing right now. You can watch these games live on Cozy TV.